This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klaus. Let's get started.
How do three paladins of separate gods?
But if you ask me what my calling would be, I'd say that of a defender of my friends. I would give my life to see them through.
I could have, but I didn't. And every day has been beautiful since.
I think I'm surrounded by good things.
A cleric on a hunt for redemption.
I need it for my friends, family, these people that I love, who have always been the answers to my prayers.
Whatever the hell you are.
I don't know if deserving has anything to do with anything.
A storyteller.
And if you ever need me ever again, let me know.
And one I haven't figured out yet.
I think that would take me a while to find someone more knowledgeable than me.
All come together. And there's not a bit of fate in that?
I think you mispronounced friends.
Well, I will drink to that.
When you see God's rest surrounded by armies, then know that his desolation has come near. Take these wings to Nymunet. Carry them home. Chapter 44, Winterlude and Nymunet. Previously, the Bronze Scales settled into the ancient and holy city of Nymunet, beginning their various training, learning, and research after their long pilgrimage. The fiendish Kishi demon that had been plaguing Briarbridge was banished as Ezekiel came to face a greater worry, the Green Knights and his family. Ball spoke a message to Wolfrath with the greatsword runes rusting with blood in response. Ellory has been training with Voyager Saros near Gaethalt through the storm, and Amson had challenged and beat a local bard known as the Gambler. Vesper's been training in the art of healing and surgery as Meli researches. We come back to the story here as this year interlude in Nymunet begins to pass, and the final pieces of the Bronze Scales research begins to fall into place. What would you like to do?
I know Ellory and Vesper had a scene they wanted with Meli, right? We want to go find Meli to deal with some stuff that we have and have had for a while.
There's that. Are there any others?
There was my big group scene, but
I had a group scene and just one or two things to sum up, I guess.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll just get started then. Yeah, whichever one you wanted to do first.
Okay, find Meli.
Okay, so you'll find Meli.
Yeah, so you did.
Okay, so I believe what we wanted to do with Meli was to take a look at some of the less savory items that we've acquired and see if we can deal with them somehow. And I think the three things that we had in mind were the sword that attached itself to Vesper. Then there was a long sword that we found in the tombs beneath Daydream Basque, as well as a book with some necromantic ritual that we found in the same place.
That was the third one I couldn't remember. So we'll go find Meli and...
Okay. You find Meli, gather these things among you three.
So your spell that deals with demons can also take care of curses, right?
The which spell? Are you talking about my banishment one?
I think also deals with curses.
Give me 1 second, because I didn't know that was a thing.
No. It has to be a creature.
No.
Okay.
It has to be a creature, I'm sorry.
Remove curse would be effective.
Well, I tried to remove curse and we were like, well, it doesn't do anything.
Okay. Wow.
The info that I have on the rapier says that banishment would work on that. But I don't know.
Oh, that's right. I forget why, but yeah, that you could try that.
Does that mean that the rapier is possessed?
Ooh, that's really that's upsetting.
If it's do you want to try talking to it?
No.
I don't know if talking to things is the best way of handling evil objects.
It's always good to know what their plan is. So
Right, but if you touch it, it'll attach itself to you.
I mean, we don't have to touch it if we just try talking to it and see if it answers.
Okay. talk to the sword that's sitting here on the table. Let me do it.
I will go up to the sword. I'm not going to touch it, but I will lean in quite close and I will cast tongues on myself so it can understand me if it doesn't speak common. And I'll just say, excuse me, but I would like to know what your intentions are to the sword.
A few moments pass, no response.
Did it say anything?
No.
You sure?
Can we just fucking get rid of whatever it is that's making this sword difficult?
I don't have to spell magic, which
I have to
wouldn't remove a curse,
but yeah.
I don't think that would remove a curse though.
From what I've looked at earlier, banishment may work. I forgot that y'all had learned that much.
Yeah, I mean I can banish it. I just wasn't sure if we wanted to figure out what it was first before we got rid of it. I was kind of curious, but it's fine.
Bad. So.
Yeah, I mean the skull was bad, but that was interesting.
That was also Ezekiel almost died, so
he didn't.
Please just banish the sword.
Okay, I'll banish the sword.
What's your save DC?
It is. I think it's 16.
Okay. You reach out to the sword. You don't have to touch it to cast this spell, but you push your hand forward and will your mind to push into this sword. You can feel the magical power radiating off of it. And as you open your mind to it in order to banish it, you feel a sword growling coming from it. And as you cast this banishment, you hear it get louder and louder and louder, and then silence. The spell completes. You don't hear the growling. The sword remains.
Oh, the sword's still here. Can I try and pick it up?
Yeah, you pick it up.
Does it try and attach itself to me?
Seems like a normal sword to you.
Yeah. Can you?
I'll hold it out to Vesper.
I'll take it.
She freely gives it.
I set it down. I walk about 20 paces away.
It's no longer cursed. It is also no longer magically enchanted. So there's no +1.
I'll take it anyways.
Okay, so you took care of that. What else is on the list?
Well, there's this really gross sword that supposedly does things if you stick it in blood.
Yeah, don't like that.
Have you stuck it in blood?
No.
I'd rather not.
Meli.
I'm just wondering, do you know specifically what it does, or do you just know that it does something?
Makes it stronger or something like that?
Does it have to be human blood, or can it be an animal?
I think Meli, you actually identified, and you didn't notice any specification. Any blood.
So we could try and put it in animal blood and see if it does anything.
Meli?
Yeah. The rest of my hair's about to turn white. The rest of it's about to turn white.
I mean, I spoke to the spell. I don't know why you guys came to me if you didn't want to actually experiment with the things.
Because you have really powerful magic that I don't have, because you have arcane magic. And we thought you could help us get rid of the rest of this magic a lot cleaner. Should I just dispel it? I just don't like the idea of dispelling magic on a sword without being prompted. But
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. If we test what it does first and then dispel magic. So you just know what it does.
If you become cursed. Actually, I've been cursed, but still.
If I do become cursed, you're there.
I don't like this.
It's really low risk.
Is it?
Trust me,
there's also the part about.
It's fine.
There's also the part about leaving the blade inside a corpse overnight. And I think this is not something that we want to keep as it is.
I can try and just dispel all the magic on it.
Yeah.
Meli looks so unhappy.
I'm sorry. If we want to find blood to stick it in, I guess. I highly...
It must be like a chicken or something around here.
Y'all can easily go to the market and buy a chicken.
Oh, I don't want to kill a chicken. Oh my god! As a doctor and a priest, I have to say no to this plan.
The chicken is
you
1 gold.
You don't have to kill the chicken. We can just stab it, get some blood, and then you can heal the chicken.
Oh my god, okay.
So you guys go to the market. The chicken is $1 or 1 gold. The balloon.
I will pay for it. Oh wait, do I have any money? Yeah, I'll pay for it.
Okay, it's 1 gold. And does someone stab the chicken?
I don't know. Meli, do you stab the chicken?
Sure, I'll stab the chicken.
Oh my god.
You take the long sword and you stab it, and as you withdraw, there's a bit of blood on the end, and immediately it soaks into the blade, and it is completely dry.
I cast Cure Wounds on the chicken.
Meli, looking it over as she's curing the chicken, the blade doesn't seem any more powerful. It seems like it needs more than just a tiny chicken prick.
Any cows in the market?
You want to buy a cow?
No.
God,
maybe.
Cows.
We have to take these with us now. They're ours.
No, we can buy it and then sell it on. I'm sure someone will buy a cow. We don't have to tell them we stabbed it with a sword first. I'm a researcher. This is what I do. I don't know why you guys came to me if you didn't want me to do this.
Okay.
That's fair.
A cow, we'll say, is a price of a donkey, and it's 8 gold pieces.
Vesper, please can I borrow 8 gold pieces?
I'm going to return your Winterlude present. Yeah.
Can this cow be my present?
Sure.
So you have a cow now.
Oh my god.
This big...
Do it, Meli. Stab the cow.
Gray cow.
Oh yeah, I'll stab the cow.
Can't believe I'm wasting my spell slots.
You stab it. It immediately, whatever noise cows make, and runs off. As you withdraw it, soaks into the blade. And you can see, Meli, as you use Identify to kind of look it over, you can see now its big power. It seems the more blood it can get, the more power it can store.
And it feels powerful now?
It effectively is a +1 magical sword now. If you get the understanding that if you stored it in blood or a corpse for 8 hours, it would be able to store some necrotic energy that you could release on a hit.
I'll hand it back to Vesper and say it's more powerful now. And I don't think it's cursed.
Is your curiosity satisfied, and can we get rid of it?
My curiosity is satisfied, but I don't think we need to get rid of it.
It's...
Casting Dispel Magic.
Okay. Roll a spell check.
Oh, very bad. That is a 13.
You cast it, and you both all watch as the energy that was faintly humming for the magic fades, though the magic itself doesn't dispel. It seemed the blood that had soaked in was burnt up, defending the sword from your spell. You weren't able to remove the
that didn't work.
magic.
Okay, let's put the blood sword back in the bag.
There's a bleeding cow running through the streets.
Yeah, I figured we would have tied it up.
Okay, yeah. It's restrained against try to get as far away from Meli as possible.
I thought you healed it, didn't you?
Yes, I will heal the cow.
You heal the cow.
Again, as the doctor priestess, I can't condone anything we've done here today.
You didn't stab the cow, I did, it's fine.
I look at Vesper. I'm not sure I even want to show her the book.
I don't think we should. At this point.
What's the book?
Meli's already seen the book. She was there.
Yeah.
Necromancy book that we found.
What do you want me to do with it?
I don't know. I don't know if, I was wondering if maybe we should take this to somebody.
Take it to a priest? Or cleric or someone? If you're bothered by it. Or we could destroy it if you don't like what's in it.
Well, yeah, I really don't like raising corpses as servants, particularly.
Yeah.
I mean, I could take a look at it and see if there's anything particularly bad in it.
Can I just for a moment, just for our listeners, Katie has the most knife cat face. And I can't... Okay.
I just want nobody to be able to use this.
I mean, I could take it and try and destroy it if you want.
Will you actually try and destroy it, though?
Yeah.
Can I insight check her?
Can I insight check her, too?
Wow. So untrustworthy.
I mean, you just stabbed a cow and a chicken. It's a 13.
Full science.
Like a 9.
Katie, you can whisper me the roll.
Roll.
Yeah.
Nope, that didn't work.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's good technology.
You know what? I'll just roll the dice and then I'll whisper it to you.
Okay, yeah.
If you want 1 second.
I don't know how technology works, so there you go. Well, I didn't expect anyone would stab a chicken, buy a chicken, and buy a cow to stab it.
I didn't expect that either.
To be fair, we don't expect half of what Meli does.
That's true. She's maybe the least predictable member of this party. Okay.
The tension is literally murdering me. She's just trying to get her hands on the book.
Yeah, I think I'll take that with me to the temple tomorrow, maybe. Give it to the redeemed there.
I can destroy it afterwards, I just want to read it first.
How about you read it tonight, since I know you're a very fast reader, and you give it to me in the morning, and I take it with me to the temple. Okay. And then we can destroy it there. Okay. Ellory, sound good?
Yeah, I just don't want to think about this too much.
Yeah.
I just want this. I've seen too much like this already.
We'll get rid of it.
Okay. So dealing with those 3 items, Meli, you get an update on what it says. You've looked at it before. Essentially, it details instructions for raising an undead skeleton. And some of the pages are pre-crafted spell scrolls specifically for the ritual of creating a skeleton. It can only be used once. It requires a few different other ingredients that aren't with the book, including a gemstone, some other scraps. Takes some time, but otherwise it's basically an instruction manual for raising undead with a few spell scrolls to help you actually complete the ritual. And to resolve this, do you bring it back to Vesper to get it destroyed?
I will bring the book back to Vesper in the morning.
Okay.
And does it have all of the pages?
Did you remember all of the pages?
Well, I'm going to flip through and make sure nothing was obviously ripped out.
I don't know.
Meli,
Did you rip any pages out?
I would have probably tried to take the spell scroll out, but I would have used a knife to try and make it look as non-obvious.
Okay, so Vesper, roll a Arcana check, and Meli, roll a I want to say Dexterity check.
No, please. Okay. If she can roll lower than a 5,
I might do.
So Meli, you take out the scalpel, try to cut out the important enchanted scrolls, leaving the rest of the book intact. Rolling.
I also want to copy the instructions into my notebook.
You can definitely do that.
Jesus Christ.
I got a 15.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, as Vesper, as you look at it, there is a pretty complex amount of symbols and instructions. It looks like it's basically all there. You bring it back. You give it to one of the Vindigators, and they immediately destroy it. They cut it to pieces and then burn those pieces. And it's gone. And you feel pretty good about that.
Good.
So with those...
I'll let Ellory know that the evil necromancy book, because she has trauma related to necromancers, I will let her know that the book is destroyed.
You saw it burned yourself.
Thank you. That definitely makes me feel better.
Great. Okay, so y'all dealt with that. Anything else before we begin research?
I had a couple of things. One, just to establish that I do try and find jewelry training.
Yeah. You've been doing your jewelry training.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've been able to do that. And I believe you are making something too as part of your training, so you're able to do that as well.
So some of you may notice that towards the end of this time, Ellory starts wearing what looks like her old bracelet, but on her left wrist instead of on her right wrist where she used to wear it. Then the last thing that I had on my list was going to bring the mood down a bit, I guess, but I wanted to get everybody together depending on how long we're actually here, maybe around the anniversary of when Orsissus passed. And I just want to, gather everybody together first and say, kind of directing more to Vesper than to the others. So, before we left, Vesper, you were talking about maybe burying one of the scales, one of the uncorrupted scales that we were able to find when we were looking for Orsissus.
Yeah.
I had a slightly different idea. I was going to do it on my own because there were two, but now there's not two anymore. So I didn't really want to do anything without seeing if it was okay with the rest of you. But I was thinking, Orsissus lived in the ocean, and he had power over the storm to a certain extent. So I was thinking maybe I could bring the scale to the Temple of Veuxmeri, and, there's this big old storm that lets out over the ocean. I thought it might be an appropriate way of, remembering him, honoring him. Any thoughts?
I think that sounds good and appropriate. And at the very least, we'll be celebrating a much valued life. That means a lot to us.
Yeah, I think he'd like that. I'd want to bury it to symbolize that, we brought him with us on his journey since he brought us together. But I think he'd like your idea a lot better.
So, shall we?
Okay, so you guys gather together, move towards the temple to Veuxmeri, smaller than all the other temples here, leading up those steps to that whirlpool of storm that drops into Gathold.
Does anyone else want to say anything?
I'm not sure there's a lot to say. I think Calvin would have the most to say.
If you want me to say a little something, I probably could.
I have a little bit to say, but if you have thoughts.
Oh, well, I was just going to do my thing and give a little bit of words and things, so if you want to go first, that's fine.
So I guess I take out the scale, and I'm holding onto it on the edge of the storm. I look over to the image of Veuxmeri on the wall, and I say, I don't know if Orsissus was one of yours exactly. I don't really know how dragons do religion, but I do know that he lived under the waves, and he called on the storm, and it was through him, through watching him, that I first felt that draw to the storm and to you. We had to burn his remains to make sure that the corruption of that curse didn't spread. But it seems fitting to me to return a piece of him to you. And I look over at Amson.
Yeah, I can give a few words. Many, many years ago, we all met in the wonderful city of Embershore. And on those warm and sandy shores, we met, at first, what we thought was a vicious and ferocious beast, but who turned out to be someone who is more important than we could have ever realized. All those years ago, we met Orsissus, the bronze and green dragon who lived under the waves, who brought us together, who, for his sake, we went on our first adventure, and he was the one who brought us all together in all that. And he's the reason why we are called the Bronze Scales to this day. And so, to commemorate our memory of Orsissus, we shall do what we maybe think is right, with the remnants of himself that we do have. And so we commemorate himself to Veuxmeri at the temple in Nymunet by casting what remains of him that we possess to the ocean, to the seas, and the storm. And Absent will motion for Ellory to do the deed.
Okay. So I'm just going to look at the scale for a moment more and think of the way that I usually remember Orsissus, which is in his lair, holding that little miniature storm and watching that while the larger version of the storm raged outside. And I drop the scale in.
And so it falls. Immediately is taken by the storm and vanishes.
Sleep well, friend.
And so passes commemoration to Orsissus. With that, are you all ready for research?
I have my last little Winterlude thing.
Ellory and Vesper party.
Listen, we gotta finish up our shit.
You have one more thing.
Okay, yeah. Exactly. It's my Winterlude thing. We're celebrating Winterlude in Nymunet, and so I can actually get nice griffin feathers and things, and so I'm gonna buy everybody a present and just kind of go to everyone and give them their things. I already messaged Michael with what I give Calvin, and I splurged and I got him the nice stuff. So I go to let's do Meli first. I bring Meli a box, or it's a stack of books that are wrapped in parchment and then put the griffin feather.
Thank you. I thought I wasn't getting my present.
Well, I figured I should at least, we have a cow and a chicken now, so.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Sorry, I just wanted
No, each of the books, though, each one of the 4 books has, the title starts with M, E, L, and I. So it spells out her name.
That's really cute, and I'll probably read them tonight. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'll go to Ellory and give her present, which is this dress. It's fairly nice. It's like a dark blue. Nothing super fancy, so she actually will have a chance to wear it. But I know, something she could dress up in if she needs to. She feels like being a little bit fancier.
Oh, wow. This is really pretty, Vesper.
So if it fits, I want to give you all something just as a thanks, for getting me here.
Thank you for bringing us.
Yeah.
I give her a hug.
I'll hug her back. So I'll just say, for the sake of having on the record, Calvin's present is a blacksmith apron and tools, and they are very nice, ornate silver tools. So he doesn't have to keep borrowing from Forge as we visit. Roger, are you here?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'll bring Paul his. And it is a little music box. Not super ornate, but just a pretty little music box that plays, when you wind it up, it plays a song, like a hymnal of Aeaeans.
Ball thanks you, and Ball you just kind of see Ball kind of open it and just kind of stare at it, kind of like entranced by the song. Thank you. Very nice.
I figured I hoped you'd like it. And then I will go to Ezekiel, and I bought Ezekiel, I'm imagining almost like those like hanging pot things that like people tie onto like will hang from windows, something like that he can like carry around, and it's got a little bonsai tree in it.
Well, isn't this cute? Thank you.
Yeah. Happy Winterlude. Figured I should thank you all.
Is that a holiday?
It is.
Nice. Well, thank you. He picks a flower and just like hands it to her. Oh, no, there's probably no flowers. It's winter. He makes a flower and then hands it to her.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Put it in my hair. And then the last one is for Amson. It is a very nice set. It is a griffin feather quill, a really nice leather-bound journal, and some purple ink, because I know you like purple.
Thank you, Vesper. I need to do more writing.
Well, now you have the means to. And I hope you like the ink. I didn't know what shade to get, so I kind of guessed.
No, it's perfect. Thank you.
Happy Winterlude.
Big hug.
Okay, that's all I need to do. Just thank everybody for getting me to Nymunet.
Well, that will bring us to research. Let me pull that section up. So you guys have been researching as you've been training and learning and doing across this entire year. So you're finally putting all this stuff together. The first thing we have to figure out is some of this information isn't all with the Scriptorium to Faerie is the biggest library. You get some of your information orally from the keepers and the old growth and from other sources, but a wealth of it does come from the Scriptorium, this great library. The bottom floor is free, but it only covers some of the basic subjects you have. The other portions cost gold to get in. I've already looked at it based on where your subject area is. It would cost about 300 gold to gain access to the things. Shit. I just had it.
Okay. Ezekiel pays for it.
So 300 gold for the principal portion and the reserve portion.
I mean, we can cover it with party funds.
Please.
I mean, I can. I don't know what else I'm going to do with this.
If you want to, feel free.
There you go.
Okay.
Buy me something pretty if there's something I like.
And so you guys visit these portions, the sort of free lower one, the principal portion, the reserve portion. The Scriptorium is a tower. It looks like from the outside about 60 feet in diameter, about 13 stories high. But as you go inside, the interior is much larger. It's 250 feet in diameter. And the ceilings are massive. It is much larger on the inside than it is on the outside. And you begin to research. And this is loosely in order of how hard these subjects are to research. So the first ones being easier and using some of the lower portions, the later ones being harder. The interior is the same stone that most of Nymunet is made up of, and is lit by pedestals with bowls of this crystalline coal that burns this blue fire that is cold to the touch. You can leave a piece of paper on it and it will not burn this cold fire. The rest of the area, the deeper or higher portions, are also backlit by this strange reflection, as if light being reflected off of water, yet there is none. This sort of loosely illuminates the interior. And going through your subjects, starting with Fire Giant Heritage, you find a number of resources. Two of the more important ones you find are Histories of the Mountain and the Axiom of Might, which is written in Dwarvish with some giant runes, which details a Dwarvish historian that details the conflict between dwarves and the frost giants in the spine, and another resource called the Expedition Across the Spine that's written in Common that details an explorer that was captured by half-roads. The notes you find are as follows, and I'll send you guys all this, so don't worry about writing down names and stuff, but I'll just give you the information. I'll send all this stuff to you so you have the actual names. So you learn of Tyrus, also known as the Forebearer, also known as Moor King, also known as the Titan Lord, who is a giant who ascended, born under the constellation of the Lord, eventually becoming a god and forebearer of all giant kin. He holds the stone maul, Moor, and speaks with a voice Clav Thum. He established a massively powerful kingdom of giants, Tainir, from which the giants spread out. Tainir is also called the White Tomb of Tainir and is a frozen wasteland of giants and beasts located north above Severwind. If Severwind is North America, Tainir is Canada. Tyrus had children with many of the elements, infusing the giant kin with elemental power. And Tyrus himself is of the Axord of Destiny. All of the Jungenclav, which are sort of the demigod sons and daughters of Tyrus, have their own axioms and ordiners. There's Ikvas, Uvartjotan, Storm Giant of Omens, Muthia Skyjotan, Cloud Giant of Extravagance, Opulence, we'll say instead. Fjotmor, Isiotan, Frost Giant of Might, Vladis Ildjotan, Fire Giant of Craft, Gluslor Steinjotan, Stone Giant of Artistry, and Namgar Hogjotan, Hill Giant of Hunger. The fire giants you learned are called Ildjotan. They're great crafters, primarily of weapons and armor, and they use volcanoes and lava to heat their forges, and they use anvils and hammers and are the war machine of the giants, or they were. The half-runes serve as the intermediaries between the Jotun, the giant kin, and the smaller races. There are half-rune clans in Tainir, as well as among the Spine, and even some being underground, bearing the giant runes of their heritage. The explorer in one of these resources describes the Ildjotan, who is being led by a clan of half-runes with one fire giant at its head, named Krof Imbraltan. And that research, I think, was mainly headed up by Ball, with, I assumed, all of y'all helping. I assumed Meli, who has research expertise, helping. Next, you learn of Faerie. A number of resources, some just stories and some more wizard reports. 2 resources being Tales of Dreamer's Luck, written in common, which is basically just say fairy tale stories, and Notes of Lost Name, which is written in High Elvish, which describes a wizard who forgot their name, who took notes in the margin of several fairy tale books, one of which was Tales of Dreamer's Luck. The notes include that Faerie is a strange mirror plane of the prime material plane. It was created by Archfey and not by the gods. Flightful dreams and fancies, and some say it impacts the seasons with its winter and summer court. Time works strangely there, and you find out a little bit about Fae. They can be bargained with, though most stories serve as warnings, as those who made deals mostly end up killed, imprisoned, polymorphed forever, or otherwise cursed. The phrasing used are incredibly important when dealing and bargaining with Faes. Words matter. And one should never accept gifts from Fae. Summoning a Fae requires something they desire, usually with milk and honey, though their desires change frequently. And Fae hate boredom. You begin into some of the more intense subjects that require longer to research and take up more time spent in the Scriptorium. The windowless Scriptorium. You move on to Fel Nor, also known as the Shadowfell, Fallen Nor, Shadowfall. Resources are numerous, as the facts are sort of spread out among a wide amount of resources, but you find 2 that are useful. The Severa Histories of Fel Nor, written in Celestial, and the Histories of the 4 Kingdoms, written in High Norn, which is sort of a ye old common, which describes the histories of 4 kingdoms of ancient Norn, and of King Rabban, Queen Salas, King Hessen, and King Griffith. The notes include that the Shadowfell, otherwise known as Fel Nor, was the first material plane, which was abandoned by the gods when the betrayers killed Mervhella, the first goddess of war, and wounding others. Leaving the place as the gods abandoned it into darkness beyond the reach of divinity. Some notes describe divine magic cannot easily reach into Fel Nor. It is a place of darkness where shadows live as other phases, solid, liquid, gas, plasma, and other phases. Some say the shadows and darkness acts as a force, like gravity. Some say it's sentient. This sentient darkness is referred to as despair and affects travelers who spend any amount of time there. The Shadowfall, or Fel Nor, is home to creatures morphed by the shadows, vampires, undead, necromancers, and the Dread Cryptic. All deceased souls pass through the ethereal plane and through the Dread Cryptic before reaching their final destination. The Dread Cryptic is also referred as the Pale Lady, the Ebon Mother, or the Raven Queen. Moving right along, moving into the subject of Veuxmeri. You find a number of sources, most of them more historical passages. One called Ancient Elves, written in High Norn, which is a history written by a group of scholars known as the Jade Atlassium. You also find a book called Ancestors in Worship, written in High Elvish, which is a history written as an official account by Asmazaros. The notes include that Veuxmeri were the prototype of the Elves, which came from Faerie itself, also known as the Waking Dream. They came after the Ruination during the Age of Emergence. The Veuxmeri were naturals at weaving and channeling magic from Faerie and built great cities of magic, becoming a great force after the era of Drakes, beginning the era of Mer where Elves ruled. They enslaved the humans and dominated any other threat with their advanced magics and civilizations. Moving on to Founding of Nymunet. Nymunet was originally a resting place for the gods. After the gods killed Nor, the planet-sized super titan known as Northil, they came to rest upon its corpse. This place where they rested became known as God's Rest, or Sakya Dor, which is the closest translation you find to whatever ancient celestial language they spoke then. Nymunet was the more common translation that could be pronounced by non-divines. The gods then went their separate ways, founding their own establishments of divine power upon the material plane. Nymunet was then used as just a place where these gods would reconvene to discuss things or fight. The gods who rested at God's Rest were not just the good gods. They also included Kataran, Seether, as well as Zihara, after Osa was split. After the gods established their own thrones, Nymunet became a home to servants and eventually to the children that were created by the gods, the mortals. Nymunet survived the ruination. Nymunet survived incursions by mortals, Veuxmeri, mortal dwarves, as well as incursions from other creatures, fiendish, undead, liches. Eventually, after the betrayer Ascendants killed Mervella and the gods abandoned this world, they left it all into darkness, bringing forth Nymunet from that plane, transporting it into the material plane. Some say that is why it lies on that ascended plateau, this land that rises straight up from the center of the ground. Moving from Nymunet, we go to the Harbingers, and these last couple subjects were very hard to research. There's no book directly on it, this subject, but more you have to pull from numerous resources. Meli and the rest of you are researching intensely, spending a lot of time moving between multiple sources, cross-referencing, and trying to piece all of this information together. The Harbingers. One resource you find that was especially helpful, among many others, was the Holy Savara Law and the Mantle, written in Celestial. You've come to find that Savara, though commonly envisioned as a goddess of knowledge, is not just a personified individual. You learn from some of the sages and disciples of Savara and the tome bearers who guard you in some of the more rare sections. See Savara as not just an entity, but as a manifestation of arcane physical and metaphysical laws. She is the laws of physics. She is the laws of arcana, as well as being an entity, a goddess herself. And so the holy text of Savara is known as the Holy Savara, which is the law. You find about the Harbingers that it's unclear who or what they are or were. It's unclear if they're multiple or a single entity, or if it is even a sentient creature at all, or just some sort of force. The Harbingers are known to bring forth omens and precede changes in the mantle. The mantle is the mantle of divinity, which is the pantheon. Harbingers preceded Tyrus when he ascended and when he fell. Harbingers preceded Wolfrath when he ascended. Harbingers bring omens, which are always true if from a true harbinger, but are always in riddles with multiple meanings, and it is often hard to know for sure which meaning it is until it comes to be. The sages of Savara help you in this research, and they help explain, in addition to the resources, that not all omens come from harbingers. They keep a careful watch on this because it is so difficult to discover. Omens can come from ravings of madmen, corruption from fiends, glimpses of the future from arcane divination, warnings from the divine fae fever dreams, seer visions, chaos flux magic formed, or any other number of sources. So it is very hard to know where an omen comes from and, if you do know that, of its validity. Moving on to Starfall. You find one book called Starfall and Relic, written in Celestial. It is a temple history of the conflict driven by the Lich, known as Relic. Relic tried to blend the planes of Shadowfell and the material plane in order to domain over both planes together. Relic was stopped by champions of the gods, one from Akoshan, Valisol, Veuxmeri, Ayin, and Asinma. Moving on to the Star Celestials, one of the most difficult subjects to find. You find only one resource on this subject. It's called Notes of Sea Winds, written in a language you don't understand. Is someone able to cast comprehend languages?
I have tongues and comprehend languages, so whichever's easier.
So Meli, you're able to translate this, Notes of the Sea Winds, and it is notes from a traveler of the astral sea. And on one of the pages, you notice there's a picture drawn, faded, of a celestial creature with some notes and annotations. Looking at it, it is not exactly the same, but very similar to what y'all saw on the boat. Some of these annotations draw a line from the runes on the armor to a quotation, and I quote, written, ale, and then question mark. And that's AEL. And I'll send you guys the names again. You also see another word written in the margins. Veuxmeri equals servants of sky, and Sacra Vela equals sacred star. That's all you find on these star celestials specifically. You do find some more information on the circle of stars. Oral histories from the keepers of the old growth, led up by Ezekiel in that research, and a book called Death of the Veuxmeri, which is written in High Elvish, which is a official history from Asmazaros. It details the ancient druidic circle of stars, which was among the other circles of druidic nature. The keepers of the stars walked among the sky and the stars themselves, and one circle broke off from the rest, and was created the Circle of Black Star, which was led by the ancient Veuxmeri keeper Narasine, who corrupted this power, channeling the power of the Black Star from the sky. The circle was broken by the gods for their insolence, resulting in the unintended destruction of all Veuxmeri followers of the Black Star and the Circle of Stars. Breaking the Circle of Black Stars resulted in the immediate destruction of most of the Veuxmeri population, any who were on the plane at the time. Their populations were reduced to essentially nothing. Their great arcane cities left immediately abandoned. Some claim Keeper Narasine was able to complete a binding ritual before the gods broke the circle, resulting in the loss of her people and her gaining of power, though that is unclear. And there are two more subjects. Betrayer Ascendants. Resources Mervhella and Duma, written in Celestial, a history of the fall of Mervhella, the goddess of war, and the birth of Duma and the Soul Cursed. Mortals, children of gods who ascended to divinity before rebelling against the divine gods. These were the Betrayer Ascendants, once mortals. They achieved divinity in part due to artifacts of great power, referred to as Fel Armor and Fel Arms. These were crafted by those known only as the Architects. Some researchers have a theory that the Architects live still in the Astral Sea, but this largely has no evidence. The Fel Armor and Fel Arms allow the Betrayers to take in power and bind it to themselves. They're often referred to as Fel Plate and Fel Blades. Though it is not clear what the plate and weapons looked like, some say there were Fel Robes, Fel Staves, and Fel Bows and others, but the language stuck. Using the Fel Plate and Fel Blades, the Ascendants became powerful enough to challenge the gods. The Betrayer Ascendants fought Mervhella, the first goddess of war, who killed many of them before succumbing to their vile weapons. The Betrayers took in part of her divine soul, ascending to greater power. But when Mervhella finally perished, she burned what was left of her soul, creating Duma, the first Soul Cursed. It is said that followers of Duma can choose to burn their soul upon death, creating cursed weapons, corrupted lands, and other nefarious effects. The other gods, led by Velasol, then fought back the now powerful Betrayer Ascendants before leaving the plane entirely, abandoning it into the lightless shadow of Fel Nor. Only the loyal children were allowed to live in the new world, crafted by the remaining gods. The rest were abandoned in the Shadowfall. Waystones. You find two resources. One, Star Signs and Birthrights, written in Common, which is basically a horoscope-like notes detailing personality and physical traits, eye color, birthmarks, hair color, etc., associated with those born during certain times or under certain constellations. Some connections are drawn between constellations and Waystones of Power, though this is pseudoscience at best, though it's one of the only resources you have. The other is a volume of the Holy Severa Law, the Divine Gate. It is written in Celestial, and you begin to learn of its contents, though it is written in patterns of arcane geometric riddles that must be solved. You learn after the ruination the gods crafted the Divine Gate, separating them from their children. This gate was designed by Severa. Asima served as the great roots, using the divine power of nature to stay on one side of the gate, binding and anchoring the power on Northel. Asima gave much of himself to accomplish this, though because they are the only god remaining in any fashion upon the material plane, Asima is powerful here. Severa crafted the arcane runes, one for each of the Waystones, serving as the arcane lock, bound to the divine anchor. Many other gods did not participate or actively fought against the gate leading to the Great Ruination, a war between gods which left the world in shambles. Finally, though, the gate was erected, separating all the gods from the children on the material plane directly. Asima is the only one that remains on this side, though heavily altered after having given so much for these Waystones. The next section, so y'all try to make sense of, but these are complex geometrics, arcanocryptographs. There's information in them, but it is hard to ascertain. As you are researching, Meli's probably going to head this up, but you're going to need to roll an arcana check to understand some of the following information.
Can I give her an inspiration die?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's assumed you're all kind of helping, so you can give her inspiration.
Okay. So yeah, that is a D8 for you.
I will also enhance ability so she can have advantage.
Okay. And Meli would have advantage too because of her understanding of libraries in her feet. So Meli, roll an arcana check, add advantage, and then add a D8, you said it, Amson?
I got 28.
Okay. The DCs were very high, but you rolled damn well. So you begin to write furiously numbers and letters in multiple languages and glyphs and arcane runes and begin connecting the dots. And you begin to uncover some of the information, begin to understand some of the information behind the divine Waystones. And the information you uncover is that there seems to be 8 Waystones. They are, one is located in Mufaron, one is located in Gaethalt, in the Varoth Sea, one is located in the Thronelands, one in the deep mind of Nor, whatever that means. One is in Nymunet itself, one is in the Sea of Ghost, and one is in the spine of the world. You gain a rough understanding of the locations of these Waystones by interpreting and understanding this arcanocryptograph. As you move forth through some of these pages, there is another arcanocryptograph, this bulk of symbology that is all spread over itself. Roll another arcana check to understand this one. You can roll at advantage because of your library expertise and feat.
18.
Okay. With an 18, this one's harder. And you spend many days and hours going over this, but you do discover some of them. You discover there is a arcane lock called Scar. There's a lock called the Forbidden Ritual. There's a lock called Heaven's Aegis. There's a lock called Memory's Bone. There's a lock called Sun's Smile. And there's a lock called First Lie. And as you have these, there's one more arcanocryptograph that uses symbology from both the arcanocryptograph of Waystones and that of the arcane locks, linking them together. Roll one more arcana check at advantage because of your library feat to try and understand the connections between them.
19.
Okay. So you understand that Mufaron, the Waystone, is connected to the First Lie, arcane lock. You learn that Thronelands, Waystone, is connected to Sun's Smile, arcane lock. You learn that the deep mind of Nor is connected to Memory's Bone. And you learn the Sea of Ghosts is connected to the Forbidden Ritual. And these are linked and bound together. One of the last subjects, or the last subject, you guys research, and you've all been mixing and maxing this research over this year in Nymunet. You begin to research the will. It's located in the Obsidian Break histories, specifically the section that details, specifically the series of shells that detail the Nornhold kingdom histories of Novikov. As you're walking down the hallway, this is in the reserve portion, where there are thin rivers on each side of this cold fire that light up the hallways and the rooms and the shelves in dim light. As you move ahead, you're led in this section by a Veratrix. You've seen these before throughout your time researching, and these are constructs of some sort. You're told that they were here before and No one really understands how they work, assumed to be created by Severa. They are made of scrolls, pages with multiple runes inscribed upon them, arcane glyphs. They glow and pulse and ignite as they move. They float just a couple inches above the ground, long and lanky like rows of paper or parchment. And above where their shoulders would be, where their head should be, is a gemstone, and glows dimly. These creatures or constructs can't speak, though the gemstone does sometimes change colors or glow brighter or dimmer. You're accompanied by one that leads you to this section, and as you move towards it, you hear ahead someone studying, pages being turned. No. You hear pages being ripped, and as you move closer, you see darkness ahead, where the cold fire has gone out. Your footsteps of all 6 or 7 of you are loud, and as you get closer, you hear nothing. Silence.
Can I cast Dancing Light?
You can.
I'll send them in front of us into the darkness.
You cast these, and as you move them, you're in a hallway, a long hallway, and to your right there's an opening where there's a section of more shelves, and you kind of move the dancing lights in there, and as you do, who's at the front?
Probably Meli. I hate to say it.
Okay.
No, I think I'm at the back, actually.
Meli, does a 26 hit you?
Shit.
Yes.
I rolled 2 natural 20s. Get advantage on it.
Okay.
Can I cutting words the assumed damage?
You sure can.
That's 7 less.
Okay. Well, you negated that much, so that's good. A bolt whizzes from deeper into the hallway. It sticks into you, Meli. You take 18 points of piercing damage as you look down and you see a bolt in your diaphragm, a crossbow bolt. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
That's a natural one.
You take 31 points of poison damage as it
I'm unconscious.
strikes in, and you see Meli fall immediately. I need everyone to go ahead and roll initiative.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay. This is fun.
Oh my god. I didn't suck on initiative.
Me neither.
Me neither.
One of us. That makes one of us. Ooh.
Wasn't super prepped with spells for combat, but we'll make it work.
Yeah. I pretty much just had all healing shit. So this is great. This is awesome. Oh, I have spiritual weapon. Okay, that's something.
Ellory is always consistently high initiative scores.
I rolled a nat 20 on that this time.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh no, I ripped the paper I needed. Why did I do that? Stupid dramatic. Okay. So, Ellory, you're up first. As you see Meli fall to the ground, a bolt in her diaphragm.
How much can I see up ahead?
I should have you on the map so you can see basically what you can see.
Oh. Okay, so I take it the construct is
Behind you.
Behind us.
Yeah.
And the hallway down to the left is where the bolt came from?
It came from the left, that's correct.
Okay.
So a long hallway, a couple of doors leading off in front of you.
Can I hear anything from that direction?
You can use your action to make a perception check.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
That's 19.
Yeah, you hear something in front of you, straight ahead, just around the corner.
Just around the corner.
Straight ahead.
Straight ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything is on top of my character sheet right now. I would like to use sorcery points to cast Eldritch Blast as a bonus action in the direction of the noise.
Okay,
And
you
I
heard
think
it
that would be
up ahead, but around a corner.
around the corner. So beyond where
So I'm pinging it. I don't know if you can see my ping in the dark, but it's in the darkness. But it seems to be around something.
So it's way off that way?
Yeah.
Did we not have Meli's lights? Did they fade when she fell?
They faded, yeah, when she fell.
Yeah, I'm going to go forward towards it as far as I can, which is not all that far.
Okay. So 5 feet extra to get through Amson. And otherwise, it'll bring us up here. You hear and you hear a loud explosion from the nearby room. You can see flames beginning to catch, the flickering of flame and light beginning to catch. It's still pretty dark, but it's beginning to get brighter. And that will bring us up to Amson.
Okay. Amson's gonna stand in front of Meli. And yeah, everybody's in range. He's gonna cast Beacon of Hope on everyone, including the unconscious Meli.
Okay. So as you cast the spell, all of you within range gain advantage on wisdom saving throws, death saving throws, and regains the maximum number of hit points possible from any healing. And anything else for you, Amson?
No.
All right, Ezekiel. Ball on deck.
Okay, how tall are the ceilings in here?
The ceilings are about 20 feet tall.
Okay, so it's a nice big space. I hope I'm going to fit through the hallway. I'm going to turn into a giant elk.
Okay.
So that will make me a huge creature, but my speed is 60, so I'm just going to go.
So Ezekiel turns into this massive, you said huge, right?
Yep.
This massive giant elk. Your antlers are knocking books off the shelves nearby. But yeah, holy shit. And are you running ahead, basically?
Yep, basically can just make it through this little hallway. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I think I can get one more on that. And since I use my bonus action to transform, I'm going to dash until I can see something. I'm not going to be able to get through any of these doors, but...
You do as you're passing upon the stone. You look to the right. There's like little enclaves where there's research desk and chairs and a bowl of the white fire, all out, extinguished, where people would use to research in quiet. As you come around the corner, you see there a female. You see she's wearing one of the sage's robes, gray, as she looks up at you. As she looks at you and you're around the corner, her eyes ignite in light. And they are the color of like a violet lavender color. And you see her with reloading a crossbow in one hand. You can see behind her the sound of crackling flame beginning to spread.
Great. That's my turn.
Okay, that will bring us up to Ball.
Okay, I will move my 25 up to here. I can't see anything. I'm going to turn to Meli and put in 5 points of my lay on hands into her.
Okay, Meli, you immediately breathe in as you see Ball's massive hands over you.
You're okay. And then I'll look behind his shoulder, still not able to see anything, kind of get off his knee, and he's going to activate his mantle of flame and just kind of flame on.
Bursting in flames.
And hopefully that will help me see a little better. 30-foot radius bright light and dim light for additional 30. And that's the end of Ball's turn.
Okay. And that will bring us up to Vesper with Meli on deck.
Okay. The most effective thing I have right now actually would be my healer feat, so I'm going to pull out a healer's kit and apply that to Meli. So
putting that surgeon and healer training into action, you immediately jump into bandaging the wounds.
We're level 8 now, so you're going to get 18 hit points back, since it's max healing.
Quickly patching Meli up.
And then I'm going to 5, 10, 30. Can't see anything, so I'm going to use my bonus action to dash. 5, 10, 15. Jesus. 30, and I'm gonna hang out there. And just listen. Can I hear where Ezekiel is?
You heard him trampling down the hallway.
Is it like here-ish?
You'd have to use your action to get do a perception check. He's got a vague idea that he ran down the hallway, so.
Okay.
Meli, that comes to you. You're on your back. Vesper has just pulled out the bolt, quickly removing the iron head, and has quickly patched you up already.
Did I see which way Vesper went?
Vesper went northwest into a sub-alcove.
It's half my movement to stand up, isn't it?
It is.
So I'll stand up and I'll start trying to go the same way she did. Do I have to go around Ball? Like, I know he's quite big.
It's 5 extra feet to go through an ally. So you could go through Amson for 10 feet and get on the other side of him.
Okay, so I could go like there. And then I'll cast Dancing Light and try and send it in that sort of direction.
Okay. Put it in the hallway. I'll put a light down there. And is that it for you, Meli?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That will bring us up to the Veritrix. The scroll construct behind begins to drift forward. Drifting forward, flying over you, Amson, and moving towards the room. You can see some of its arcane runes around where its arms would be are beginning to glow. And the crystal on its head has gone from a bluish glow to a red glow. And that will bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is move up. I think I have to go 25 feet to get past where I would hit anybody when I cast Thunderstep, because I can see a little bit of light off towards where that corner is. So I'm going to Thunderstep over there, down the hallway.
You step, an explosion from where you were of thunder as you step around the corner. You see a woman in gray robes with glowing violet indigo eyes.
So from there, I am going to, this time, use sorcery points to cast Eldritch Blast as a bonus action.
Okay, gonna make an attack roll.
And that's a separate attack roll for each beam, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of those is a 19, the other one is a 16.
Both hit.
Okay.
As they hit into her shoulder and abdomen, twisting and writhing the cloth and the bones beneath.
So that is a total of 9 force damage.
Okay. Pushing her back. And is that it for you?
That is it for me.
Amson, you're on deck as she...
Actually, I am going to move just 5 more feet to the side to make a little bit of room.
Okay. Seeing this giant elk and then you come around the corner blasting, she spins around the corner, sees Vesper and is going to go ahead and take a shot. That is a 25 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So you take, as the bowl whizzes, you take 11 piercing damage and make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. That's a 13.
Okay.
Oh, Calvin's not here, so I don't get any bonuses. Shit.
So, as the bolt strikes into you, you feel poison coursing through, taking...
Unnecessary poison damage.
24 points of poison damage.
Oof, okay. I look bad.
She is then going to... She's going to run up you, dropping...
I'm going to use my reaction, because I'm now a scout rogue, and I'm going to move 15 feet away from her.
She
without taking attacks
throws the crossbow to the side as she...
You also have to wait until she ends her turn.
No, it's she ends her
Sorry.
So she throws the crossbow to the ground, withdrawing a short sword, curved, very long on the end, and strikes towards you.
Oh my god.
Not as good. That is an 18 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So you take 8 piercing damage.
Cool.
And make a Constitution saving throw.
Cool. Worse than the last one. I'm about to go unconscious right here. I can feel it. Yeah, you
I
can
rolled
stop.
pretty bad. 14 poison damage.
Oh, okay.
I rolled a bunch of ones and twos as she strikes
got
into you. And that will leave to Amson with Ezekiel on deck.
Okay.
Now, I'm just saying, now you could take that reaction to get away from her if you would like to.
I would love to. Because everything hurts and I'm dying. So 5, 10, 15. So Vesper stumbles back into view, bleeding profusely at 3 hit points.
It's a rolling backwards with the strike, doing a tumble roll, turning, running by the still dancing light as Meli is cast. That will bring us up to Ezekiel.
Hey.
Wait, I'm sorry, Amson with Ezekiel on deck.
Amson's going to, as a bonus action, cast Expeditious Retreat, and I can move an extra move action as part of the spell, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's do that. So coming up just behind Vesper, and I'm going to reach over Vesper and cast Firebolt on the lady.
Okay.
So that is one of these guys.
Do you have Sharpshooter?
No.
She's gonna get a little bit of cover from Vesper.
Okay. That is a 19 to hit.
Still hits.
Okay.
So reaching around, Vesper slams into her.
I didn't want to say reach around, but okay. That's 11 points of fire damage.
Okay. Slams into her shoulder. You can see the ripped cloth from the force damage is now beginning to burn. Anything else for you, Amson?
That's my move bonus and standard, so nope.
And Ezekiel with ball on deck.
Okay, I can't fit through that hole anymore, so I'm going to shrink back down with my bonus action to knee, and then...
No, you're all good. So running around the corner, you see a number of the bookshelves are on fire. Coming around, you see the woman running towards, with Vesper dodging away with a dancing light illuminating the area.
Yeah, the only thing I can do about the fire would probably be worse. So I'm going to I think I can get one more square if it'll move to there. And then, no, just out of range. So I'm going to Ice Knife at 2nd level.
Okay. Slinging this knife of ice. Is that an attack roll?
Yeah, I'm just going to roll dice because everything is frozen.
Okay.
So that is not good. 13 to hit, 14.
She hears you in your elk form and then shifting back, coming around the corner. She looks over her shoulder and ducks as it slams into a nearby bookshelf.
And then I think because Ice Knife has a radial, she still has to make another thing.
Okay. That is a 21 dex save, I assume?
I'll just click. 1d10 piercing damage. Yeah, dex save. So she would succeed. She's gonna take...
If she succeeds on a dex save, she takes no damage. As she evades it. It goes over her shoulder, slams into the wall right next to her shoulder, and she explodes out, and she ducks up under it. As she's now focused, looking forward to Vesper and Amson. And that will bring us up to Ball with Vesper on deck.
I'm going to move one square up. Klaus, does this count as me seeing this thing?
Can you see
I can see, the hood part of it.
She's going to have major cover, but yeah, you can see part of her, so.
Okay, I'll just move closer. And by moving closer, I can no longer see her, so I will use my action to dash. If I have 10 feet of movement left, is there any way that I can get past either Vesper or Hanson?
Not with 10 left.
All right. Well, that will be the end of my turn then.
Okay. So, Ball, you're trying to get a view on her, moving through these hallways. And that will bring us up to Vesper with Meli on deck.
Cool, this is really fun.
So you just rolled out of the attack, rushing around. You see Ball come around the corner.
Sorry, I'm going to preserve my own life using Channel Divinity and heal all of those 25 points, because that still keeps me at less than half. So I'm looking a little better now. That was my action. I will now use my bonus action to cast Spiritual Weapon right behind her. and try and smack her in the face with a different die, because that one's not being nice to me.
Gonna make attack roll as the bow forms, hands pulling it back.
That's a natural one.
As she ducks under it easily.
Awesome. Having a good time. Then I'm going to use my movement to go 5, 10. I can go half movement if I pull Amson with me, right?
Yeah, half movement, unless he resisted or something. But it's going to be more movement to also move through the ball.
Yeah, I'll come along.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move us into this hallway, basically, and just kind of hide us in these shelves.
Okay.
So Ball can get through next turn.
Okay. And that will bring us up to Meli.
Can I get there? I think. Is it 5 foot to move past Ball because he's bigger, or is it like more?
Yeah, you could get there. Yeah, that would be 30 feet, I think, to get there.
Okay.
So you see her now, with your dancing lights, hooded female with literally glowing in a 5-foot radius, violet indigo eyes. She has a short sword out.
I'm gonna cast Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound behind her.
Okay. I don't think you've ever used this before.
Nope.
What does this look like? What does this dog look like to you?
So it's a phantom watchdog that only I can see, and it's gonna be a staffy because that is my favorite kind of dog. And it's kind of just there until I dismiss it, and if something small or larger comes within 30 feet of it without speaking the password, then it starts barking at it, and then at the start of each of my turn, the hound will attempt to bite the person that's hostile to me.
Okay. So you conjure this hound of protection in front, or right next to her, and that only you can see. And
So it's going to start barking at her, and I want it to be like there behind her. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to confuse the shit out of her.
Okay. Does everyone hear the barking?
I think everyone
can. Yeah. So all of you immediately hear I don't know what a staffy is, but you hear this barking. Barking right behind her. It spooks her. She kind of jumps, spinning, slicing at nothing, confused as to what's going on. And that will bring us up to this creature. Essentially fly dash through you and get over here. As this construct of scrolls flies, weaving between you, getting to the other side, turning, raising a scroll arm towards the creature, and you see runes igniting along its arms like Iron Man, but it doesn't get to do that yet. And that will bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, first thing I'm going to do is move to try and get up around this corner, following where I saw the lady and Ezekiel go. Oh, that is nice. My movement gets me just where I can see her very well. And I am going to... Well, I don't think I'm using Fireball in here, so
you can hear the flames to the left that are crackling and growing louder each round.
I am going to cast Chaos Bolt at 3rd level.
Oh, boy. Oh.
And see how that goes.
Well, for her, I assume.
Yes, that's 25 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And let me figure out how many dice I need for this.
Is this changing colored magical energy shifting between different colors and forms, slamming into her?
Okay. Not the best numbers on that, so that's
2d8 plus 3d6.
Yeah, so that is 13 points of acid damage.
Okay. And as this ball of energy that is changing shapes and colors hits her, at the last second it bursts into black liquid that falls on her, does nothing, and then and you can see her shaking, trying to rub off this burning acidic liquid. You said 19?
Just 13.
Oh, okay. Is burning her. You see she's starting to not look so great. A lot of her robes are burned away, revealing a leather armor below. That will bring us up to her. Seeing around the corner this creature, she's going to sprint this way and is going to throw a knife at Ellory, pulling out a dagger.
Okay.
17 to hit?
Yeah. Oh, wait. 17?
Yeah.
I would like to use my reaction in that case.
Okay.
And cast Shield.
So, as it's moving slowly towards you, as the adrenaline rushes through, arcane adrenaline, you can see the poison at the tip, and you wince, and a shield of arcane energy deflects the dagger away as it flies into the alleyway. And she's going to continue. She's going to get right there and is going to use the short sword against Ezekiel. And that is I believe, a dirty 20. Yeah, dirty 20.
I think that hits. Let me double check. Yeah, just hits.
Okay. So it deals 7 piercing damage as she strikes across. And then you see her pull out, with her bonus action, a vial and open it, and slide it across this liquid across the blade, re-poisoning that weapon. And that is her. That will bring us up to Amson with Ezekiel on deck.
Amson's going to rush out, and as he does, say to Vesper, "Thank you. 1 second." And he's going to... She's in range. He's going to cast Hold Person on her.
Natural 17 plus or minus something? No, just 17.
And there's nothing that I can do about that, so that saves.
Okay. You cast the spell. You see her freeze up, lock up for a moment, and then continue throwing the empty poison vial to the ground, preparing to strike into Ezekiel.
And Amson will rush ahead just a little bit and hide behind the next bookshelf closer to her.
Okay. So moving forward, that brings us up to Ezekiel, Ball on deck.
Okay. I don't want her to stab me again. So I'm going to bonus action go Cave Bear. I don't have to worry about size. I'll keep it in mind. And I'm going to do 2 strikes. Ellory would notice my usual bear form is a little bit bigger, and there are like bone spurs around. And so first attack is the bite. That is a 26 to hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I am going to drop my level 4 slot into a smite. So altogether, that is /roll. I think with a 4th level smite, I get 5d8 plus 1d8. So 6d8 plus.
Oh boy.
28 points. Some of that's piercing, some of that's radiant. I can break it up.
No need. You slash across as this cave bear forms from Ezekiel with these bone protrusion growths from the spine and the shoulders. As it strikes across, some of the leather armor she's wearing is ripped as you tear into her flesh and throat and torso. She stumbles back, leaning against the shelf. She's still up, but she's looking very rough now. Katie.
Great. I get a second attack.
Bye, Katie.
Good night. Feel better.
Good night, Katie.
Feel better.
This one is a 17.
That also hits.
So I will do terrible 7 slashing damage and just a level 2 smite this time for... Where are my d8s? I rolled all of my dice. I rolled 5 different dice this turn. They were all 1s. So 3 radiant damage.
Holy shit. So I thought I was going to say that's it. But you slice across with the claw, knocking her back. She stumbles and looks like she's about to slide down, bleeding on the books behind her. The heat and flames behind her are beginning to lick out and spread to other bookshelves. But she looks and sees the bite coming, and she tries to duck and jump over it. You grab and snag some of her leg, but she's able to roll out of it. As she heaves against the wall once more, getting to her feet, struggling, barely conscious. And that will bring us up to Ball.
You hear Ball audibly grunt in frustration as he tries to squeeze through. Get flipped to here, which would be most of his movement. And as soon as he sees something, he is going to cast Phoenix Shower as an action to give 6 tiny meteors floating around him. And with his bonus action, he's going to immediately throw 2 of the meteors at this person.
Okay, go ahead and roll a hit. Ball steps forth into this room of bookshelves that half are now on fire, stepping before the Veritrix, conjuring up burning meteors that swirl around here, immediately roaring and tossing two of them towards the perpetrator. Dex save. That's a natural 1 for one, and a 12 for the other.
Okay, both of those would fail. So the first one is 13 fire.
How do you want to do this? As you sling these meteors.
You see just kind of like uncharacteristically Ball's frustrated with not being able to get into the fray of battle and almost kind of shoves Meli out of his way. Gets around the corner, and as soon as he sees this enemy, just immediately his hand, you see the balls of flame erupt from his hand, and he just immediately starts chucking them at like mid-stride, and they just kind of explode in her vicinity.
So as you come around the corner roaring, the rune, the rest of you notice on Ball, as he's now engulfed in flames, the rune is glowing brighter. You can see almost his hair, flames are licking and dancing in his beard, growing longer than they ever have, and his eyes are burning with a rage that you haven't seen on Ball before. As he... These meteors explode in her vicinity, tossing her up towards Ezekiel, who claws and knocks her to the ground as the other one explodes, burning half of her face, scalding off. As you wait a moment and she doesn't move, you see the flames are beginning to grow bigger.
If we're coming out of initiative, I am absolutely using control flames to try and control the
Ellory
flames.
tries to control and beat down the flames as the scroll paper construct flies towards the flames and moves its arm towards it. Paper swirling and snaking around, moving up to where its arm should be. Runes ignite and water begins to spout onto the flames. Between Control Flame and the Veritrix, the flames are eventually put out. Though you can see the bookshelves there, though mostly stone, the books themselves are burnt and destroyed.
Any that are salvageable and just waterlogged, I will shape water the water out.
Okay.
So that they can at least dry, hopefully without the ink running too bad.
So you guys pull through, gather yourselves around, begin to patch yourselves up and try to salvage some of these tomes. And as you look through them while you're patching yourselves up, just before we go on break, you find one book or a lot of the ink is ran dry, a lot of the other books and pages are burnt. But there is one book called Revari and the Will. It's written in High Norn, and it details an incursion of vampires in Novikov. Most of the book is burnt, but there are some details. The Will is a faction of vampires, otherwise known as a family or a clan. The Will is powerful because it is led by an originator, or an ancient original vampire. There's some other pages, notes. You see something location, something Wraith Watch, something. Further on another couple pages, you see something witness of something dark. As you collect these few remnants of facts that are left behind from the half-destroyed book, that's where we'll go ahead and take our break, and we'll come back in 15 and see where you guys are going from here.
Next time on Back to the Story.
As you get closer, you see 4 of the Veritrix. Immediately following them, you see a few of the Tome Bearers, who as they see you approach, they slow to a stop and pull out staves. You can see arcane energy amassing at the tips of them.
At the temple, there was an order of Valisol's followers of the Order of Will. Do you suppose that has anything to do with this?
And everything's still all good between your Sola and your god?
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.